It's Weekly Weird News. And I think we could all use a nice break from all the usual horrors. So this week's episode will, for the most part, function as a safe space where you will not have to hear about Donald Trump or Elon Musk for approximately 45 minutes to an hour.
Okay.
And thankfully, we have plenty of material to fill that huge swastika-shaped hole. And what better way to kick things off than leave the world of humans completely and check in on the animal kingdom?
Yeah.
Well, okay, not completely, because this first story is about a guy who, for a very long time, has been voluntarily, intentionally, subjecting himself to one of man's greatest fears. A fear that is quite justified. Snake bites.
Yeah. Why'd it have to be snakes?
It had to be snakes. Snakes are one of the most common human fears, and, well, a lot of people maybe freak out a bit too much from simply being in the presence of any old snake. The idea of getting bitten by a venomous snake is something pretty much everyone avoids as much as they can.
Yeah.
Whether it's a king cobra, a rattlesnake, a black mamba, or just anything from Australia, you don't want to get bitten because it can literally kill you.
Yeah, it's a bad time even if you're not going to die. So avoid it. But for one man, that's not the case at all. And for over 2 decades, he's been intentionally letting all sorts of venomous snakes bite him. And now his depraved hobby may end up saving a whole lot of lives. Well, who's laughing now? This
Well.
gonna have a big chip on whatever's left of that shoulder.
They said I was crazy for constantly letting snakes bite me.
And they were right. But here's the New York Times. The video is just under 2.5 minutes long. A slim man with close cropped hair walks into a room, pulls a long black mamba, whose venom can kill within an hour, from a crate and allows it to bite his left arm. Immediately after, he lets a taipan from Papua New Guinea bite his right arm. Thanks for watching, he calmly tells the camera, his left arm bleeding, and then exits.
I'm assuming he died immediately after that, right?
Anyways, that's it for me. You'll never see another video again. Over nearly 18 years, the man, Tim Freed, 57, injected himself with more than 650 carefully calibrated, escalating doses of venom to build his immunity to 16 deadly snake species. He also allowed the snakes, mostly one at a time, but sometimes two, as in the video, to sink their sharp fangs into him about 200 times. Look, even if it wasn't, the end result wasn't always planned to save lives, because I feel like the end result, based on his own words, seems to be creating his own version of a superpower where he could, either battle or fall in love with snakes and be totally fine with the end result. That might have been the original goal, but now he's saving lives. He is a test case.
I mean, I gotta say, it would feel pretty cool to know that if a cobra bit you, you could just laugh in its face and say, "Ha, what else you got, bitch?"
It's, at the very least, a cool party trick.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Hey, where'd that cobra go? Then you can make that joke afterwards. Everyone freaks out. It's a good time.
I think there might be a BDSM angle to this.
Oh, could be. Yeah.
Unless maybe, hey, I don't know. I've never been bitten up by a snake. Maybe it feels really cool.
Who's to say?
Mr. Freed's first snake encounter, a harmless bite by a garter snake at age 5, started a lifelong fascination. "If I only knew back then what was going to happen," he recalled, laughing uproariously. But he didn't begin dabbling with snakes in earnest until he was married with children and working in construction.
All right.
My life isn't dangerous enough.
He hit one of those, it's like, I don't know what age he hit it, but it's definitely like I have no more worlds left to conquer. What made me happy when I was a kid? Getting bitten by a snake. You know what? I'm going to do that now that I've got the kids and the work stuff done.
Yeah, it's like the quarter life, midlife crisis.
Yeah, I bought a mountain bike.
No more mountains left to climb. Yeah. What else is there? Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
He began experimenting with scorpions around the year 2000, but quickly switched to snakes. At one point, his basement lab housed 60 venomous snakes. His experiments nearly ended soon after they began. On September 12th, 2001, crazed by the terrorist attack of the previous day and by the death of a friend a few days earlier, he let himself be bitten by 2 cobras. They were his first bites by live snakes, and he had not built up enough immunity. He was fine after the first bite, but after the second, he felt cold. His eyes started to droop, and he couldn't talk. He blacked out and woke up from a coma in a hospital 4 days later. His wife was furious, but he was angrier with himself.
Doubt. I would say the wife's probably more upset in this scenario.
What the fuck?
You asked me not to ask you what was going on down there. All of a sudden, I hear a tumble.
How many snakes? 60 snakes?
Yeah, and I had to find the one that bit you because that's the only way they're going to come up with the antivenom down there.
He vowed to become more methodical in his work, carefully measuring out doses of venom and timing his bites.
Guarantee the wife's still mad.
I love it. He's like, please promise you'll never do that again. I'll never do that again. By which I mean I'll never do exactly that again. I will continue to let snakes bite me, but I'll be a little more careful about it.
Babe, I apologize for being so careless. Going forward, this is going to become even more intense and methodical. I hope you're along for the ride. Now that you've found my snake lab,
Yeah.
I guess the secret's out.
I guess it's out. I'd work all day, come home, play with the kids and the family, and go downstairs and do my stuff all night long. Wake up and do it again.
Woo! Daddy needs his snakes. If it weren't for those goddamn snakes.
The snakes are the only thing keeping me sane.
Yeah.
There were other mishaps, accidental bites, anaphylactic shocks, hives, blackouts. Mr. Freed describes himself as a non-degree scientist.
Yeah.
But, quote, there's no college in the world that can teach you how to do it, he said. I was doing it on my own as best as I could.
Wow. Like I said, I got a mountain bike. I started running. This guy's down in the lab.
Yeah.
Experimenting with different venoms.
Running, mountain biking, this is not quite the thrill I'm looking for.
It's also like,
I want to hold death in my hands and literally look it directly in the eyes and say, try me.
There's something like to get to the satisfaction of being like putting yourself on death's door every day, quite literally, and abusing yourself like that. The parents and the kids, I would just be like, what's wrong? Is everything okay?
Yeah, there's more going on.
But again,
sure.
He's saving lives, Elliot. We can't critique him too hard.
You can't.
This guy's absurd, irresponsible, dangerous hobby appears to have led to one of the biggest medical breakthroughs for treating snake bites. And it could end up saving countless lives. We don't know. This guy could be like Jesus in 2,000 years' time.
Yeah, he's like Marie Curie.
He abused himself for the good of other people. He took his lashings from these lovely snakes. Every year, venomous snakes kill tens of thousands worldwide and permanently disable several 100,000 more. And it very disproportionately happens in poorer parts of the world where resources for treating snake bites are hard to come by. Antivenoms exist, and they help save lives, but since the venom from different snakes can be so different, you need the right kind of antivenom for the job or it's not going to help. So in addition to just enjoying getting bit by snakes, Tim Freed has been hoping that his 2 decades of voluntarily poisoning himself might lead to some sort of medical breakthrough. Now, the article continues. 2 teams of scientists sampled Mr. Freed's blood over the years, but neither project led anywhere. By the time he met Dr. Jacob Glanville, CEO of biotech company Centevax, in 2017, he was nearly ready to give up. Dr. Glanville had been pursuing what scientists call broadly acting antibodies as the basis for universal vaccines against viruses. He grew up in a Maya village in the Guatemala highlands and became intrigued by the possibility of using the same approach for universal antivenom. At first, he said he had a humble goal of finding someone like a clumsy snake researcher who'd been bitten a couple of times. But then he came across news articles about Mr. Freed. I've been waiting for this call for a long time, Dr. Glanville recalls Mr. Freed saying. Finally! Hey, wife, get in here. You said it would never happen.
Hey, this guy on the phone, he's a doctor.
Mm-hmm.
You know what he's trying to do? Can you guess? Do you think it might be the thing that I've been talking about this whole time?
You said you're gonna kill yourself one of these days.
What's that? I'm sorry. You were right, Timmy. I love my husband. That's right.
Tonight,
I've been waiting for this call for a long time.
the snakes are going back down into the lab tonight, honey. The bed is yours.
And yeah, Tim Freed's fucked up blood proved to be very useful.
Yeah.
They were able to isolate an antibody that protected mice against 5 different types of snakes. And then they decided to try to combine that in a cocktail with a molecule known to work against some venoms. And then they found a second antibody in Tim's blood to add to the cocktail. The results gave mice complete protection against 13 snake species and partial protection against 6 more. Tim is, of course, thrilled about it, probably shoving this in the face of anyone who ever doubted him or called him crazy. Here's NPR. I couldn't believe it. I really couldn't believe it, he says. I know I'm doing something for humanity and giving back to science. Upon Glanville's recommendation, it has been several years since Freed last allowed himself to be bitten by a venomous snake. But he admits to missing it.
Yep.
Mostly in terms of just knowing where you can take your mind, he says. To know you can beat that and keep your calm and keep your cool. It's a wonderful thing. And here's the times again with, I think, a pretty crucial detail.
Yeah.
Mr. Freed himself is done now, however. His last bite was in November 2018 from a water cobra. He was divorced. His wife and children had moved out.
Yep.
Well, that's it. Enough is enough, he recalled thinking. He misses the snakes, he said, but not the painful bites. I'll probably get back into it in the future, he said. But for right now, I'm happy where things are at.
Yep. Yeah, I think we all saw that one coming.
I'm back on my bullshit. Here we go again.
It is unfortunate that he waited until everything collapsed in his life to be like, oh, maybe it was the snakes.
Yeah.
But on the other hand,
I can't live like this.
But
there's 60 venomous snakes in the basement. We have kids, Tim.
I keep finding you bent over a chair and wondering how long you've been passed out for while you're on some head trip.
Do you think he like the way lifelong recovering like drug addicts, they just see something like if he
it just triggers it?
He'll see like just even a reference to a snake and he'll be like, oh fuck God. Oh, I want it.
I mean, for multiple reasons. It did become his whole life. He was, however you want to describe it, he was fucking good at it.
Yeah.
Whatever it was.
Say what you will.
And yeah, there's clearly like he is addicted to the pain and the action of it. And apparently the psychoactive effects that it has on his brain, because when you put yourself in a situation like that, yeah, it does kind of fucking trip you out.
It's kind of wild that this guy, it's a credit to him that he never used...
Oh, I respect him. I need to put that out there. Sir, when you are looked at
as
a Jesus-like figure in a couple years, I want to say I was on your side.
And speaking of his heroism and speaking of Jesus, I think it's admirable that he never used his snake immunity to preach.
I was just thinking about that. Yeah,
snakes.
Yeah. He could have got people killed.
See, the Lord protects those who believe. Now you try it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I guess he didn't believe.
Calm down though. There's still time, but I hope not.
But speaking of snakes, let's move on to a story about something that kind of looks like snakes under a microscope, and that would be cum.
Yeah.
A few weeks back, we discussed what was being marketed as the world's first ever sperm race, in which two young, virile men representing rival LA universities, USC and UCLA, would jerk off into a cup and see whose jizz was the fastest.
Obviously, Elliot was in attendance. When I came back from the woods, the first thing I saw was Elliot head to toe in merchandise from this big event. It said, I love fast semen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's just what you saw under normal light.
Yeah.
I didn't turn on the UV light.
That it comes pre-covered in UV reflective material.
And yeah, this wasn't just for science or school pride. You could also gamble on the event on Polymarket, because it doesn't...
What can't you gamble?
Yeah, that's America today. Mm-hmm. You can gamble on fucking anything. The event ended up being such a hot ticket that the original venue of the Hollywood Palladium had to be swapped out at the last minute for a larger venue. And the event was held this past weekend, with the guy from USC being declared the winner.
It was a fix because of the Trojan thing.
Yeah. Or as our local ABC outlet described it,
in the end, the Trojan won. The Bruin got creamed.
Cool.
Oh, and we somehow missed this the first time around, but the USC guy's name is Tristan Milker.
Nominative determinism.
I guess it's not a surprise that he took home the $10,000 cash prize. Milker. Born for this.
Yeah.
Anyway, it looks like it was a fun, raucous occasion for everyone involved. However, in the days since, questions have been raised about the legitimacy of the competition.
Uh-oh.
Here's Metro UK.
The contest, held at the Los Angeles Center Studios on Friday, was billed as a dash between two sperm along a microscopic racetrack, ending at a finish line. But a renowned fertility doctor has since said that videos purporting to show this sperm racing could not be footage of real human swimmers. I look at sperm all day under the microscope, and these are not human sperm, said Dr. Stephen Palter, medical director of Gold Coast IVF in New York. This is CGI. This is computer generated, he added, citing differences in the proportions, their swimming technique, and the fact that they moved determinedly in one direction. He showed real footage of sperm in his lab in which very different looking cells wiggled about in seemingly random directions. What's the real story, guys? Why are you doing this? Why are you putting out fake videos? Dr. Palter asked.
It's stolen semen valor.
That's right. We consulted an expert. We consulted an expert. He stares at cum all day.
Yeah, listen.
And he loves it.
Some guys get bit by snakes all day. Some guys stare at cum all day. We all have our cross to bear.
Do you think at one point he was like, should I say anything? Because at least it's getting people interested in fertility, you know? And But he had a duty as a medical doctor.
Yeah, it would be, honestly, it'd be a violation of his oath as a doctor to let this slide.
Now, does he understand that these athletes have been shooting into very, very tiny little training these sperm? The problem is this guy, he's seeing regular sperm. He's not seeing athlete sperm.
This doctor, he's only seeing beta male sperm that are just like, I'm a sperm.
Did he know about the guy's last name?
Yeah.
That would have changed things.
Yeah, this milker guy, his sperm, it's like bullets. They go right towards the finish line.
Maybe Dr. Palter should make a cash call.
And in a TikTok video posted by Dr. Palter, it is pretty clear that what was presented as a sperm race featured sperm whose behavior and appearance were quite different from the real deal.
So was this fake? Well, short answer is yes. Yeah, long answer is maybe, okay? Dr. Palter has said that the organizers could have tracked the speed of real sperm and used CGI to transpose it onto a racetrack. A video journalist who attended the event for the Free Press has said he was told as much by PR representatives from organizers Sperm Racing. A document sent to Austin Jeffs reportedly stated, for added entertainment value, the live positions of the sperm are mapped onto a dynamic 3D model of the track, creating an engaging visual experience. However, questions have been raised as to whether the live positions were indeed used, given sperm tend to dart around randomly, or rather, simply their speed. Dr. Palter compared it to having blindfolded men trying to run on a track, followed by a group of professional athletes racing along another track, basing their movement on the speed of the blindfolded men. I would have no problem if they had just said this was an interpretation, he told the Free Press. But in reality, watching real sperm would be kind of boring. But they are encouraging people to bet on it.
Yeah, that's the thing, is like this. I feel like if people have money on the line, you should be disclosing what they're actually looking at.
Yeah, at the very least, I think
I smell a lawsuit.
What would be equally entertaining, what they should add on to this, is the carnival game where you have to aim the gun at the little metal piece and it blows up the balloon, or the horses go across the track. Do that, but with a piss stream, and because that is like kind of a manly thing. Like you gotta have a strong flow. So you gotta find the strongest flow, and then you would assume, extrapolate from there that they would also have a healthy dose.
But you're describing piss racing, and this is sperm racing.
They go through almost sports. The same tube towards the end.
I mean, it's like boxing and MMA. There are similarities.
That's why I'm saying as a side contest, Elliot. I want to see people blow up balloons with their piss streams.
Wasn't that like remember Power Thirst?
What is that from that movie?
No, it was like a
Idiocracy.
It was like a
flat.
It was like a pre-YouTube flash animation like comedy video. It was like Power Thirst.
Oh, did they piss in it? But maybe that is my brain referencing
I think there was like a pissing contest described in that. It's a classic video.
Let's bring it into reality, folks. If we're doing sperm racing,
it's called challenge pissing. I don't know why I remember this. This was like 20 something years ago.
Sort of related. There another great Instagram account is Scenic Pisses.
Yeah, I love scenic pisses.
Who doesn't love scenic pisses?
But people are getting like a little too daring with some of these pisses.
Oh, someone's going to die.
Yeah.
That's the problem with all of these viral
I've seen
challenges.
some very dangerous pisses lately. They're supposed to be scenic, not dangerous.
Yeah, that's the problem with anything going viral. Well, it lasted.
It's like how planking was only around for about a week before someone died doing that. It's kind of crazy that scenic pissing's been around for a couple of years now and no one's gotten themselves killed.
Hopefully it's not related, but two people did just fall off of Bryce Canyon and die because they literally stepped over the fucking cautionary fence and immediately slipped and fell down.
Well, that's just for normies.
But they could have been pissing.
They could have been pissing.
Moving on, though. According to the reporter who was there, he did actually see them backstage uploading pre-recorded race footage, and when confronted about it, one of the Sperm Racing co-founders said that the actual race had already happened an hour earlier, and what was shown live was a CGI representation created using tracking data captured during the actual race. And this seems potentially believable, especially if they tried to do it for real and ultimately realized that the footage is boring as hell. But the article also points out a second, much more verifiable bit of dishonesty from Sperm Racing's creators. Doubt has also been cast as to whether the race can indeed be called a world first. A BBC Two program, Lab Rats, hosted a similar contest in a pub in 2004, showing real zoomed-in microscoping footage in which sperm cells darted around erratically. Another was produced as part of the BBC's The Truth About Food in 2007. Mr. Zhu reportedly acknowledged hearing about them days before the event, but did not change his marketing.
Dishonest.
That's
false advertising.
Pot committed.
Fraudulent.
But those are British people. They get money to do all kinds of weird shit. Here in America, we have to have a gambling element tied to it to even get the community involved and interested.
So there's multiple levels of dishonesty and fraud here. One of the event creators, I believe, was like a crypto guy or an NFT guy.
That's the problem.
If you lost that bet, I hope there's a class action lawsuit being filed as we speak, because this stinks. It stinks to high heaven.
I did see a report lately that like just some guy took some cash and just bet against all of the improbable things, world events on Polymarket, just like dumb, outrageous things that had bets available, and he just took the realistic bet every time and made a pretty hefty sum. So good for that person.
Yeah, I mean, it's still gambling.
It definitely is still gambling.
It's still a really foolish thing to do with your money.
Absolutely. But
moving on now to some international news that's also about young men doing stupid shit, though honestly, you're way better off just having sperm races against your friends than doing what this next guy did. Over in Japan, they got this big old mountain called Mt Fuji. It's really just a gigantic volcano, so it's quite iconic. It stands alone. There's no other mountains around it.
Very
it's
beautiful.
Just a big old single mountain. Getting a good look at Mt Fuji is on every tourist bucket list, but some tourists get a good look and decide, hey, I want to go to there. So they head on up one of the mountain's several hiking trails so they can say that they went to the top of Mt Fuji. Yeah. But the thing is, due to the distance, altitude, and cold temperatures, climbing Mt Fuji is pretty strenuous, even on the supposedly easier trails. And some people underestimate that. Here's The Guardian with one such tale. A university student has been rescued from the slopes of Mt Fuji twice in the space of a week. The second time during an attempt to retrieve his mobile phone.
Oh, my God.
The hapless climber, a 27-year-old Chinese national who has not been named, was airlifted from Japan's highest mountain last week, only to be the subject of a second search 4 days later. It emerged that he had returned to the scene of his first rescue to retrieve his phone, Japanese media reported.
I got so many good Pokemons on there, they don't transfer! The student, who lives in Japan, was found on Saturday by another off-season climber on a trail more than 3,000 meters, 9,800 feet, above sea level. He was suspected of having altitude sickness and was taken to hospital, a police spokesperson said on Monday. Officers later realized the same man had been lifted from the mountain by helicopter 4 days earlier, the broadcaster TBS said. Media reports said the climber had returned to the 3,776-meter peak on Friday because he had left his phone and other items at the scene of his first rescue. It was unclear if he had managed to find the device. Well, we're going round 3.
Yeah.
The incident was a reminder of the dangers Fuji poses to inexperienced climbers who underestimate the challenge of traversing its steep slopes. People are urged not to hike during the off-season as conditions can quickly become treacherous. I mean, I hope he got his phone the second time, because if not, I mean, it really seems like he might just head right back up the mountain as soon as he's out of the hospital.
Is it true that you can't transfer your Pokemon?
I have no idea, but it would be a very funny thing if it was like something that was maybe like a crypto thing where you use your phone to unlock it.
Yeah, you could have some crypto on there. I mean, losing your phone does suck, especially because of the two-factor authentication stuff. That's not fun at all.
For most, I would say, normal people, it is pretty much once you get another phone, obviously, once you get it replaced, which sucks.
But that can be a couple of days, and during those days, you're locked out of your accounts. And
that's why it's good to have a secondary authentication app that doesn't tie to your text messages.
Well,
there you go.
Yeah. But back to the United States now, with some news from a category that has served us well over the years. Public poopers. And public poopers can, of course, be divided into two distinct categories. People trying to be sly about pooping in public who get caught, and people who want everyone to see exactly what they're doing. Mm-hmm. This next story is from the second category, and it comes to us from Delaware County, Pennsylvania, which locals call Delco.
Cool.
Here's the Delco Times. The mysterious Delco Pooper was identified and charged Thursday with indecent exposure and related offenses. She's accused of defecating on a car hood during a dispute with another driver this week in Prospect Park. Christina Marie Solometto, 44, of the 700 block of East Chester Pike in Ridley Park, is also charged with disorderly conduct, criminal mischief, harassment, and depositing waste on the highway for the Tuesday incident at the corner of 4th and Madison Avenues. Video of the incident, shot by a bystander, took the internet by storm Wednesday, even appearing on TMZ. The video shows a woman exit a vehicle, apparently pantsless, move to the front of another person's car stopped behind her, sit for a second on the victim's vehicle hood, and then return to the sedan, flashing a smile as the other driver shouts at her. Left behind on the hood is a brownish glop.
Who amongst us hasn't wanted to take a shit on the hood of some asshole driver's car? Some of us are just more sneaky about
They
it.
call it the Pennsylvania sunroof.
Yeah, that's it. Yep. Mm-hmm. The real upper decker. And here's the Pooper's mugshot. I mean, she does seem proud of herself.
Yeah, she got a real kick out of it.
And here's her version of events. Solometo said she was heading north on Lincoln Avenue and was the 5th car in line to turn left at the traffic light onto 4th Avenue. 3 cars went through on the green arrow, she said, but the 4th, a silver sedan, did not move. Solometo began honking, and the driver of the other vehicle began mocking her in the rearview mirror. She said she was frustrated with the other driver and having stomach issues, so she pulled around the silver sedan and turned left. Solometo said she continued toward Madison on 4th when she noticed the other vehicle appeared to be following her. She said she stopped her vehicle and exited, then had an exchange with the other driver. Solometo said as she was walking back to her car, the driver of the silver sedan called her a insulting name, which made her angry, according to the affidavit. Solometo said, I wanted to punch her in the face, but I pooped on her car instead and went home.
I could have punched her.
Yeah. On Thursday, O'Neill and Prospect Park Police Chief Dave Madonna went to her Chester Park address later to discuss the matter further, and she confirmed the details from the earlier conversation. It was a clean poop, she added at the time. Didn't even have to wipe. Madonna said Solometo was taken into custody at the time. In video of her arrest posted online Thursday night, she tells one person, I have a sickness.
Yeah, I'd say so. And
I mean,
the video of her getting arrested too. She's having a big old laugh about it.
at that point, you kind of got to just laugh. I would feel bad if this person was obviously suffering from a mental break, but it seems like otherwise, maybe they just might be an angry driver. Also, yeah, it's just a mess, but I am proud of the clean break because that really sends a message. It means this was intentional. It wasn't just, I'm going to go all over here. I'm going to plop one right on the hood and it's going to be perfect.
Yeah, well, the thing is, we're not going to show it, but believe me when I tell you, it was not, in fact, a clean poop by anyone's definition.
All right.
The article described it as a brownish glop, and I'd say that's pretty accurate.
On a scale of normal to Blippy pooping on his friend.
What is it? The Bristol chart? It was, I don't know, either at the top or the bottom. I can't remember which side is the most liquefied, but it was there.
Woo!
Yeah. We'll leave it at that.
Yeah, we will. Yeah.
But,
Let's move on to an update on our old pal Mike Lindell.
oh, good.
Oh, yeah, Mr. Mike Pillow. It's been more than 4 years since the 2020 election, and so much has changed. But one thing that remains the same is all the legal trouble Mike Lindell is in due to repeatedly defaming a bunch of voting machine companies. His quest to somehow prove the 2020 election was stolen continues to cost him dearly. And it would appear that his dire financial straits have forced him to hire some legal representation that isn't exactly top-notch. Here's Mashable with the latest embarrassment for this very embarrassing man. Lawyers for MyPillow CEO and presidential election conspiracy theorist Mike Lindell are facing potential disciplinary action after using generative AI to write a legal brief, resulting in a document rife with fundamental errors. The lawyers did admit to using AI, but claim that this particular mistake was primarily human. Did it also have a watermark of a giant dragon in a business suit?
They didn't say so, but I'm sure they considered it.
Mike Lindell has a couple of new lawyers, and you're going to be very scared of them. They breathe fire.
Legal dragon.
Yeah.
On Wednesday, an order by Colorado District Court Judge Nina Wang noted that the court had identified almost 30 defective citations in a brief filed by Lindell's lawyers on February 25th, signed by attorneys Christopher Kocharoff and Jennifer DeMaster of law firm McSweeney, Sinkar, and Kocharoff. The filing was part of former Dominion Voting Systems employee Eric Coomer's defamation lawsuit against Lindell. These defects include, but are not limited to, misquotes of cited cases, misrepresentations of principles of law associated with cited cases, including discussions of legal principles that simply do not appear within such decisions, misstatements regarding whether case law originated from a binding authority such as the United States Court of Appeals for the 10th Circuit, misattributions of case law to this district, and, most egregiously, citation of cases that do not exist, read Wang's court order. The court further noted that while the lawyers had been given the opportunity to explain this laundry list of errors, they were unable to adequately do so. Kocherov confirmed that he'd used generative AI to prepare the brief once directly asked about it by the court, and upon further questioning admitted that he had not checked the resultant citations.
Yeah,
It is wild. It's been like over a year since like the first few times some lawyers, like I feel like those lawyers a year and a half ago, you could at least forgive them for their naivete.
Like, we'll take on a high-profile case, sure.
But like doing this in 2025, when clearly as a lawyer, like if you're paying the slightest bit of attention, you know, hey, ChatGPT is not reliable. It's for filing legal documents.
Because
in fact, judges hate it. Judges get very fucking pissed when you do it.
It's the constant, I'm going to butcher it, but the constant scale of like, you know, quick, quality, and price. And it's like, look, he has negative money. So we're going to do a negative job of representing him.
Yeah. We'll take this case on pro bono.
Yeah.
Let me just work on, okay, here's your files.
Also,
Mr.
side
Pillow.
note, I feel like Eric Coomer would do great in a sperm racing competition.
Yeah. He was defamed for the 2020 election, but he was also defamed as a masturbator.
Yeah.
Mike Lindell, he's jerking off all the time, this Coomer.
How do you
I know what a Coomer is.
He comes from a long line of Coomers.
Anyways, sucks to be him, but it's move on. It's time to move on now to the headlines half of the show. But since this episode isn't sponsored, we might as well let you know that, hey, if you like the show, want to support it, maybe consider becoming a channel member.
It's so easy. You click the join button. It's
Yeah.
a very fun experience for
If
everyone.
you want to make things harder for yourself, we've also got a Patreon. We got a Ko-Fi. I don't know how to say
Coffee?
it. Coffee.
Mm-hmm.
If that's more your speed. Or just like the video. Please like the video. That helps too a lot.
And since we're in the middle of the episode, some house cleaning stuff. We're not going to take the entire week off next week.
We'll have one episode in the middle towards the end.
Yeah, like Thursday or something. You'll see an episode. So just rest easy, but we are going out of town again. I know it's a lot in the past 2 weeks, but we appreciate you understanding.
Yeah.
Anyways, now for the weirdest, wildest news headlines from around the world, starting with
Kanye banned from streaming platform 7 minutes after joining. The streaming platform was Twitch. Can you guess what Kanye did within those 7 minutes to get himself banned from Twitch?
I'm going to guess anything anti-Semitic or a swastika.
Can you be more specific?
No, I don't want to because I don't want to get our show banned.
Within the 7 minutes, he said Heil Hitler and did a Nazi salute.
Yeah,
And said a bunch of other offensive shit.
Did Kick roll out the red carpet for him?
I don't
afterwards?
know, actually.
Because that is like, at this point, if you're the type of person Kanye is, or anyone in general, you can't join Kick right away.
Yeah.
You have to get banned from the other platforms first.
But like, I feel like even Kick, like, despite being very permissive, I feel like even Kick doesn't allow like blatant.
Does Rumble have
Nazi
live
support.
streaming? It has to.
Yeah.
So he'll go there.
Rumble.
So there you go. Kanye on Rumble coming soon. Also, I believe there was some news recently about, I don't know if she's his ex or not, the Bianca being like, yeah, that dentist definitely got him hooked on nitrous and it destroyed his brain.
Yeah, I didn't see that, but that seems about, yeah, they're getting divorced, but then they were like seen together again. I don't fucking know. I don't care.
Either way, apparently, yeah, I don't really care all that much either, but it does make sense. I fully believed for the first time ever Milo Yiannopoulos when he said that Kanye blew his brain out with
100%.
nitrous.
And Kanye's got this like warehouse in Koreatown, LA, where he's got like 100 men he's like training as his dancers for the tour that's supposedly happening next. And they're putting like swastikas on the building. And the people in the neighborhood are like, what the fuck, Kanye?
Mm-hmm. Well, when
Everything
he gets kicked out of the building, he's going to get to say the line.
I've been canceled.
No, this is going to ruin the tour. What tour? The world tour.
I don't think he's going on a world tour.
Yeah, he's not going on a world tour. Side note, the tickets not doing well. That Beyonce show at SoFi, very, very undersold.
Yeah.
Even though the tickets were going for like $600
Let's
when
see.
they dropped.
You have two things happening. Years of concert tickets prices going to absurd heights, and the economy being in the most uncertain shape it's been in over a decade.
Also,
what could possibly happen?
Doing multiple nights at SoFi Stadium, of all places. Yeah, I looked the other night just for shits and giggles on StubHub, and it was $50 to get into that show, which has got to be annoying for people who are massive Beyonce fans.
I mean, honestly,
who paid hundreds of dollars when they went on sale.
I hope the bubble births.
I think it is.
On
It
this
has to
shit
be.
because it's gotten so fucking out of hand, especially since Ticketmaster and Live Nation bought up like almost every venue, including like the small ones. There's like a tiny handful of independent music venues in Los Angeles.
Yeah, one of the biggest music towns. And yeah, what's going to happen is the festival market is just going to implode. It's impossible to have the same festival in every city in America and have those festivals sustain themselves.
I feel like it kind of has the amount of like, this is very local talk, but the Rose Bowl grounds, like I feel like 2 or 3 summers ago they had like 5 or 6 festivals.
There's 2 coming up right to back.
Yeah, but there's no more than that.
True, but yeah, it is kind of wild when you see the same
and they're
lineups.
Ridiculously expensive.
Yeah, the same lineups. Like people used to travel to see these lineups, and now they don't have to because it.
Yeah. Well, the worst part is all these companies put the bands under contract that they can't play.
Within like 200 miles.
Yeah, they can't play actual shows in LA. So like so many bands only play one show in LA, and it's like Coachella or some other festival, and they never play a show at an actual venue. So the only way to see that one band, if you want to, is to pay festival prices to go walk like 10 miles in the sun and watch them.
Or be super locked
outdoors.
in and go to a secret show because that's how they get around it somehow.
Yeah.
But let's move on to different weird headlines. Next one is Trump's first new media briefing hosts influencer who spent 7 days convinced the moon had disappeared.
Yeah, we haven't dug into this much on the show, but yeah, they got Tim Pool at the White House. They got a bunch
beanie on. He's got the beanie on.
Yeah, of course he is. You wouldn't recognize him without it. And it's Tim Pool and a bunch of just absolute brain broken freaks who all rely on like Elon Musk Twitter verification for income now. But one of them is some person who like a year ago during a new moon phase was like,
I thought that was supposed to be a
like,
new moon.
why is no one talking about the fact that the moon has disappeared? Like as if this is like I can't even. I'm like, okay, let's start. Okay, you don't see the moon for a few days. What do you think that means? What could that mean?
I would love to see if they have any
they're hiding the moon from us?
What other object permanence issues this person has?
But like, if the moon did in fact disappear, how would that work?
Well, it just shows like a basic misunderstanding of just everything. Because if the moon was gone, he wouldn't be alive to realize that the moon was gone.
Yeah, things would happen. Horrible apocalyptic things would happen if there was no moon.
You'd be underwater.
Anyway, these briefings, these
I did see that Big Balls was in on one the other day.
Oh, he was?
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's very similar to like these briefings that Putin has in Russia where he just like only calls on his sycophants.
Yeah.
So you got like people being like, can I ask like, is the administration like considering maybe going after the Obamas legally? And they're like,
well, we're thinking about
it. Yeah, maybe we will.
Everything's on the table. By the way, that White House spokeslady, the age gap relationship one?
Yeah.
She got pregnant outside of wedlock.
Wait, what?
What is going on?
The old man knocked her up?
Before they were married.
We should stone her.
I can't believe that cross isn't just burning right into their neck. How am I the one with some kind of weird, like, I don't give a fuck.
She's not a Christian.
If that's your whole fucking thing, like, come on.
Well, in her defense, she didn't have sex ed. She had abstinence-only education.
True.
And when that didn't work, well, that's where baby come from.
Yeah.
RFK Jr. rejects cornerstone of health science, germ theory.
Yeah, I assume that on principle in general. If you tell me anything about RFK and how he's running the Department of Health right now, I'm going to believe it because he's a fucking nut.
Yeah, this isn't even like news. It's just someone finally looked into he's written so many books over the years.
Yeah.
And someone like looked into one of the books and he wrote like a whole chapter on how germ theory is not real. And actually what's real is the previous theory that germ theory supplanted, which is miasma theory. And I assume he also believes that like in the 4 humors. And the man's a fucking quack.
Yeah.
It is a travesty. Out of all of the people that Trump appointed, it is a tight race, but this guy is clearly like, it's not even just that he's unqualified, he's anti-qualified.
Yeah, but that's the thing with all of the people. Like when you look at Linda McMahon running the Department of Education, I guess the only one that makes sense in the most evil way possible is Tom Homan running.
He's
Homeland
doing
Security.
his job. He's
He's
an evil man running an evil
Yes.
branch of government.
Yeah. And then you got little Marco, who's got all of his little hands full.
Yeah, I mean, Linda McMahon, at least they're honest that, like, her running the Department of Education, the whole point of it is to destroy the Department of Education. RFK, if he had come out and just straight up said, I'm going to run Health and Human Services in order to make America less healthy, then he'd at least be telling the truth. But he's saying he's making America healthy again.
I got into just one of many, but mostly fine conversations with my dad about, like, because he loves the real sugar in the...
Yeah.
And it's like, why do you think that there's... I just, like, asked, like, why do you think that there's corn syrup in American? Like, it just led to a whole thing where it's just like, yes, if RFK came in and, like, there was some things that people can agree with, where he wants to get rid of certain food additives and stuff, and it's like, okay, that's an okay idea.
Yeah.
Getting rid of, like, medical advertisements on TV, okay.
Yeah, I'd be happy about
But he,
that.
like, says those things and then immediately is mishandling a measles outbreak, a bird flu outbreak, and is telling people things that are factually untrue about how to be healthy. It just is... He's really leaning into the worst ideas possible.
Yeah, he's making...
He's like, you know
making
what?
us all dumber.
Instead of worrying about, the things that might have bipartisan support, I'm going to put a whole team on figuring out how vaccines are actually bad for you. And we're going to have this thing figured out by September.
Can't wait.
Yeah.
But speaking of politics, but not ours, Canada's conservative leader Pierre Poilievre loses his own seat in election collapse. We didn't get to that. We talked about Canada elections on Monday, I think. But
yeah, the results were still coming in.
They were still coming in, but by Tuesday it was clear that Pierre Poilievre,
lost.
the leader of the Conservative Party, who was just like a month earlier assumed to be the next Prime Minister of Canada, no longer has any role in politics because he lost. Like he could have remained in government as a member of Parliament. He can't. He lost his seat. He's done. He's done.
The vibe shift was unlike anything I've seen in quite a while up there in Canada.
And he has no one to thank but Donald J. Trump.
It is, again...
He had this shit locked down.
I'm very proud of Canada for if nothing else, showing that when faced with a person like Trump down south, they actually are like, oh God, this could actually happen here. Because they were on track for a lot of conservative things to happen. And then they saw what that could lead to and said, oh no.
Yeah, I mean, I always say, like, their primary, and this is not derogatory, but their primary, like, cultural thing about them is that they are not American, and they are very proud of that.
Yeah.
And if they feel like they're becoming American, it's like, oh, it's setting off red flags, the alarms are going off. We cannot become like those lunatics south of our border.
I believe Canada has a thing like in America, you can't trust someone with two first names, because I saw a lot of talk about how they should not elect a person with an alliterative name.
Oh, pee-pee.
Yeah. So maybe that's a cultural difference, but something that maintains the order, Yeah.
Hey.
Jail locks down after convicted killer goes missing for 12 hours. Then cops realize they forgot him at the courthouse.
Well,
oops.
Boys will be boys.
Well, I can assure
it's
you
a code red.
Lock it down. It probably, certainly only sucked for the inmates. The cops were like, oh, fiddlesticks. And then went and got the guy.
mean, I think this was like so egregious that a few of the cops did get like demoted. Because, they just left this guy. Also, the guy who was left at the courthouse, killer though he might be, was like, he was in a cell that's like not designed for overnights. So he had to like sleep on the cold floor, didn't eat. It's just bad all around.
Mm-hmm.
And feels like they could have figured this out in less than 12 hours.
Yeah. It seems like you would just kind of, the first thing, it would be like losing your keys.
Yeah.
Just retrace your steps.
Yeah, you don't call 911 when you lose your keys.
Yeah.
You take a breath and you retrace your steps.
Yeah. Especially,
where were the keys the last time I saw them?
Yeah, especially like with two people on the case. Let's put our brains together and really.
This was a lot.
Okay, we did two things today. We went to the courthouse and the jail. And honestly, this is probably what happened. They probably stopped somewhere on the way between, and they were like, "Oh fuck, we probably lost him at the Whataburger, or wherever it is."
He was in the back of the van, right?
Right. We both saw him back there, right?
All right. Well, let's pretend that we took him to the prison and he somehow got lost.
Whoa, we better lock the prison down because we definitely had this guy. It is certainly not our incompetence, definitely the incompetence of the people who work at the jail.
Yeah.
Anyways, good luck, everyone. We got more cases to solve.
Yeah, we're going back to Whataburger because we love it.
Yeah.
Turkish town of 25,000 gets involuntary high from 20-ton cannabis burn. This happens every couple years, and it's the most amateur shit. The cops, they'll put the weed in a big old pile and light it on fire to be like, this is what we think of crime. And they don't realize that, like, that shit's going to be burning for days. The smoke being at ground level means it's going to be wafting fucking everywhere, and it's going to be getting everyone high as shit.
You've done the opposite of what you claim to be wanting to do, which is
like
people not getting high.
They have special furnaces for drug seizures, and it is a big fucking tower with like a shitload of charcoal built in to get that smoke up into the air as quickly as possible.
Like, just fucking do any, like, bury it. Like, who the fuck is going to dig up nasty weed and try to smoke it? And if they do, you know what? Go nuts. Like, you can ruin weed so easily by just doing nothing. Burning it is exactly what you're supposed to do.
I would compost it.
There you go.
Perfectly good organic material right there. You could get some great soil going with all that.
The worms, they lose a little bit of the motivation, but we don't hold it against them.
Yeah, the worms, they're a little bit slower.
They're
like a little bit more chill.
They go from the racetrack sperm to the petri dish sperm. They're just going in circles, and Elliot gets out his vibrating rod, brings him to the surface.
Yeah.
$800,000 in dimes spills onto North Texas Highway, the new dime square.
It's a lot of dimes. I had to go and like do the formulas. I did the math. $1,000 in dimes is 100 pounds.
Wow.
So
that's a lot of dimes.
This is a heavy spill.
You roll by this. This is like money falls off a truck, and at this point, you just look at it and go,
not worth the effort. Yeah, it's not like when like cash falls out and people like just grabbing bills. Like picking up even $1's worth of dimes. It's like, what? 2. You got to do that 20 times to get $1.
But you feel good after you've done a little exercise.
Yeah,
really loosened up.
Mm-hmm.
Another thing, having my dad here now, I have fucking loose change everywhere. I've never had change in so long. If anything, it's like if I use cash, put a quarter like right there in the center console in case I need to pay a meter.
Yeah.
There's fucking change everywhere. It's everywhere.
What do you mean it's everywhere?
I'm finding it in places. Like he'll set it down on like a countertop or something like that. I'm finding it in different parts, like a kitchen. It's change. But hey, now I have nothing to worry about with parking meters for a long time.
Yeah, I keep a little coin purse in my car, just filled with quarters.
It's very cute.
Yeah.
The coin purse.
Yeah, it comes in handy like once a month.
Mm-hmm. I got a manly coin purse. It's leather. It's shaped like it's got a cool shape to it.
Yeah.
It's got a vibe. It's got a stamp on it.
It's actually a coin wallet.
Yeah, if you want to be technical about it, it's pretty masculine. Pretty masculine.
Southwest Airlines passenger allegedly strips naked, poops on plane seat during flight.
They wouldn't get out of the way. I'm trying to make a left turn.
There's no details provided here. It's kind of shocking that not one person on this plane like caught it on video. Not that I really want to see it, but like there's so little detail here. I'm like, I just want to hear how this went down from someone who was there.
This sounds like a probably a mental break.
Yeah,
because you're trapped in an airplane, and
I don't know what it is about
with that.
Planes and airports that makes people lose their mind.
It's a miserable experience for anyone who's flying for not the first time in their life.
Yeah.
It's claustrophobic. It's stressful, especially with everything else that's going on right now. I mean, we're literally about to fly into Reagan.
Yeah, I hope someone poops on our plane.
I hope no one's flying a fucking helicopter in the way of it. Like, it's not a really unstressful time to fly. So, you know, shit happens.
Shit happens.
I guess.
Nobody's nerfed.
That's right, Elliot. Woman raises $280,000 amid controversy over viral video of her calling a 5-year-old a slur. Cancel culture is alive and well, and it means getting $500,000 or $280,000.
Well, this is from like a day or so ago. I think it's even higher now.
Yeah.
But this woman, like a 5-year-old black child who I'm seeing conflicting reports, but might also be autistic.
Mm-hmm.
Apparently, like went up to like her diaper bag and started like looking around, and
it's a child.
Yeah, she used that opportunity to call the kid and the kid's father the N-word repeatedly.
And now she's getting paid for it?
As soon as the video that the guy took of it went viral and people figured out who she was, she's like, I need money to relocate. The woke mob is after me. And all of the Nazis came out of the woodwork to give her that money. She is hitting the jackpot. All you got to do in this country
Scream at a child.
Is
Racial
yell
slurs.
slurs at a child and then frame yourself as the victim. It's fucking gross. And kind of people are like, oh, this isn't a racist country. I'm like,
yeah, definitely some serious shit happening all the time if you look. If you're open your mind to seeing stuff like that as racist,
or just
because it is.
open up fucking the computer. Just go on the internet for 2 fucking seconds. The kerning on the Pope's tomb is a travesty. And they're not wrong.
The
they
font's all fucked up?
Well, so like kerning is the distance between letters.
Yeah.
They use like a classic like Times New Roman font. And the A, basically they did equal spacing between the letters. But so it's Francisca's R-A-N. The A, you want the A to be closer to the other letters. Otherwise, it looks like just like it leaves a big fucking gap in there. Yes. And people are...
Such a visual, not metric, or whatever the thing is on Photoshop.
They're just, people are really baffled that... Like, I know he asked for, like, a cheap grave, but they really cheaped out.
Hey, look, it really sends the message.
Yeah.
We skimped on every aspect of this. Luckily, it's not just carved in there or something, cheaply.
I mean, it is carved in there. They can't... If they want to fix it, they have to replace the whole goddamn thing.
Okay. I didn't know if it was like an inlay.
It is.
Well, you know what? It fits his vibe.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there you go. Eric Adams asked for photos of cops staring at their phones, and New Yorkers delivered. Oh, yeah? Prove it.
I mean, this is, he's obviously, he's a lame duck at this point. And, yeah.
Does he believe that, though?
I don't know. I mean, like, he seemed like, he's like, yeah, I keep hearing from good cops that they're pissed off that their coworkers are, like, just playing Candy Crush on the job for 8 hours, not doing anything. So, like, I don't know. I haven't seen it personally, but if anyone from New York's seen this, you be sure to send that to my office. And just, like, everyone. Like, literally, I've seen more cops in New York on their phones than not on their phones.
Yeah.
It's literally the first thing you see when you get into any subway station in New York is, like, a dozen cops all just doing this.
Yeah.
Making a really good money.
Well, what do you expect them to do? Everyone throughout history stood around and stared at their phones, Elliot.
Yeah.
That's right.
I'm curious, what did they do before they had their phones?
Racially profiled people.
Yeah, like...
stopped and frisked.
There is an argument to be made that the more time these people spend on their phones, the safer the community is.
The issue is that we're paying... taxpayers.
The salaries some of these people are drawing are egregious.
Yeah, if you ever want
to... where are we going to find the money to keep the library open on weekends?
If you ever want to get very frustrated, I mean, look at your own city budget, but the LA city budget is just one of the most absurd visualizations that you could ever see.
Yeah.
It's like, here's a bunch of good stuff, like parks and keeping the city clean and, rehabilitation of buildings, anything.
Police!
Yeah. And then it's Pac-Man eating that because the Pac-Man is the fucking police and the lawsuits that the police cause.
It's the same with the U.S., the federal budget.
Yeah.
Like, military is most of it, and then there's Social Security, and then there's just a tiny little slice of the pie for everything else.
Great system we have.
Yeah.
Anyways, that's it for this episode. We will be back in a couple of days. And we will see you then. But in the meantime, please, if you can support the channel, click the join button or anywhere else. And of course, the like button. Leave a comment. Talk about anything we spoke about today or whatever. Doesn't matter. Make sure you're subscribed and we will see you soon.
Bye-bye.
Bye.